I know.
You don't have to hold it, Mr. Sands. It goes by itself.
No. I'm just trying to get a shoulder workout. Yeah. Probation officer and. I think we're gonna get this plane. You're doing this at the. I'm going to. Yeah, you're gonna be at the. Come back.
You're not even ready.
Well, it's because you guys didn't even have your curtains right, you know. One guy leaves and that, no, we can't do that.
All right, everybody good?
Good job.
I don't need it. My book's over there. All right, just so you're aware, I will not be able to provide a lot of details, obviously because of the timing. It was fairly recently it occurred, as well as the fact it's an ongoing investigation. So, just if you ask a bunch of questions, I hate to say like I can't answer it. I hate to sound redundant, but I just want to give you a heads up in reference to that. Good.
Yep.
Last evening at around 8 p.m., the Harrisburg Police responded to the 1400 block of Hunter Street, which is in the Allison Hill area, for a report of shots fired. Upon arrival, officers did locate a single gunshot victim. The victim, a juvenile 16-year-old male, was pronounced deceased at the scene, and an investigation was obviously immediately initiated and is ongoing at this point in time. While officers were on that scene, they did respond to two other shootings. One shooting took place in a 1900 block of Chestnut Street. That shooting was just after 9 p.m. And the other shooting took place in the 1200 block of Chestnut Street. That shooting took place around 9:50 p.m. Both those shootings, there was nobody injured. There was property damage at both. Multiple casings were collected at both of those scenes. At this point in time, it's too early to say whether any of the shootings are connected to each other, but obviously that's part of the ongoing investigation that we're looking into. We're not excluding anything at this point in time. We're asking obviously for public's assistance, anybody who has any information, even if it's a tip or an information that they don't know whether it's relevant or not. We obviously encourage you to reach out to us. They can report it on Crime Stoppers, they can report on Crime Watch, they can call in, they can ask to speak to a detective, they can remain anonymous as well. But based upon the severity and the seriousness of what transpired last night, we are asking for anybody's assistance in reference to what the three ongoing investigations.
Do you have any idea as far as the circumstances of what was going on at that particular location for the shooting, the homicide occurred? Like, were there a bunch of people outside? Was it inside a house? Do you know?
It was outside. It was not inside a residence. There were some people in the area, but again, that's not something I'm going to go down at this point in time. It was outside on the street area, and it's again ongoing investigation in reference to that.
Do you believe this is gang related?
It's too early to tell. Honestly, it's too early to for me to go on a record and say this is 100% gang related. But it's again, that's something we're also not excluding and something that we are researching and looking into as well.
Were you guys able to collect any surveillance video from the homicide scene in particular? It didn't look like there were many cameras in the area from what we could see, but...
We were out last night and we were out again this morning, again, trying to talk to any witnesses and also trying to locate any evidence, whether physical evidence, video evidence, etc. Everything we've been able to get our hands on, we have collected. I don't want to say in particular what video or what evidence we have collected at this point.
How many gunshots do you think were? I mean, do you have any idea if the casings were, whether it's the homicide scene or some of the other scenes? You obviously said there was some property damage in the other scenes. Do you have any idea how many bullets were fired at these incidents?
Each scene had multiple casings there. So whether or not, again, before you ask, whether or not there just meant there was one shooter, multiple shooters, that's something we won't know until we get definitive answers from the lab. But each scene had multiple casings that were collected.
This is the third time that a juvenile has died from a gunshot wound in the past 3 months here in Harrisburg. What more can the city do to stop this?
That's a great question. I mean, I wish I had an answer to it. I'm not sitting on an answer of what we can do to end gun violence, just keeping it to myself. But I mean, it's a challenge that this city, it's a challenge that this region, it's a challenge this state and this country has had for a long time now. And I wish I had an answer. There's some really smart people out there that are a lot smarter than me. And if anybody has it, I would welcome it with open arms. So I think, realistically, I think it's just, we got to keep pounding away and doing what we're doing as a police department and as a community in trying to get as many guns off the street as we possibly can, and trying to encourage the youth especially that there is an alternative, to just running the streets and running amok and engaging with these gangs or with these groups that are up to no good essentially. But I mean, I really wish I had a great answer for that question.
What's your message to people who look at the homicide total this year and where it is last year? I mean, it's gone up and down
It has.
years. It's not like, I wouldn't say there's any consistent trend. But when you see people who are, I don't even want to say, I'm asking for kind of criticism, but when you see people that raise concerns about, you see this number of homicides,
Right.
Especially somebody in the community, what's your message to the community at this point about that level of gun violence?
Well, you hit the nail on the head. It's like a roller coaster. I mean, the 10 years I've been a supervisor in CID, I've seen it go up and down and up and down. It's never been like a straight line, flat line. And I wish it was. I wish it was a flat line. It was a very low flat line to no flat line. But unfortunately, it hasn't been. It's just one of those things where we keep on, again, I hate to say grinding it out again, but we keep going out doing everything we possibly can, getting as many guns off the street as we can. But as soon as we get one gun off the street, it seems like it's a pipeline that there's 3 more that just came in and replaced it. And the same goes for the youth that we deal with. There's a lot of programs out there for them, but there has to be initiative from those kids as well to get involved and to kind of live the lifestyle that they're not in the street and they're running around with these groups or with these gangs or with these individuals that are engaged in illegal activities. But I mean, I know there's been some grumblings and some gripes, but all I can say is that I can tell you the Harrisburg Police are doing everything we possibly can. There is only so many of us, and there's a lot of people that reside in the community, a lot of people that come into the community. We can't be everywhere all the time, 24/7. So there has to be a level of people have to behave and do what they're supposed to do and abide by the law as well.
You guys were right there, weren't you?
And there was officers for 2 of the shootings. Our officers were there and heard the shots being fired and responded immediately. So this is another example. I mean, we've had a couple unfortunate shootings and homicides this year where officers were in the area and responded. There wasn't a 911 call that had to be made or anything like that. The officers called it out and responded immediately. But again, the officers cannot be on every single street corner 24/7 to make sure people behave. There has to be a level of just people acting like mature adults and or acting responsibly as well.
Is it too soon to say whether or not the homicide in particular was targeted or not?
It is at this point in time. I mean, I would everything that I know and all the evidence we have at this point in time would lead me to believe it was isolated and it was a targeted incident. But I don't want to put that out there essentially and say definitively it was.
Is this the 18th homicide this year in Harrisburg?
I'll have to get back to you. And actually I want to say this is 19 or 20.
Say that one.
I want to say this is 19 or 20, but I need to get a definitive answer on that one. I think we're over. I'm almost positive this is 19 and or 20.
And that's more than last year.
Yeah, I believe. I don't have. I'm not that smart to remember all the numbers. I'm sorry. I'm really not. It's a nonstop challenge trying to keep up. What's that?
Can you email
Absolutely,
me?
absolutely.
Has the preliminary investigation revealed maybe what type of gun or guns were used in any of the shootings?
It has, but that's not something I'm going to discuss either. So, I'm not going to be able to give too much more. I mean, I know I can stand up here all day and you guys ask questions all day, but I appreciate it. I love you for it, but
Any leads?
at this point in time, nothing we're going to discuss. Sorry. It is ongoing. There, as we speak, there is detectives that are out there doing what they need to do. So it's going to be a grind, and but it's a challenge that we're up for. So again, my biggest thing is obviously if anybody has any information, and again, we see way too many kids that are involved in activities like this, and way too many kids that this year that have lost their lives to gun violence. And I mean, we really need kids to start acting like kids and not running around with guns. We really need, and I mean, I'm a parent myself. I mean, I got 2 boys. We need parents to make sure that their kids are doing what kids need to be doing and not running the street as well and acting in this type of behavior. So
I have to ask, because you make it sound like it was somebody under the age of 18 who fired this gun. Is that the case?
no, we don't know that. I didn't say that at all.
Well, you had said kids need to stop running around with guns.
Correct, and we've had a lot of kids this year that have been apprehended with firearms as well. So we've seen that increase. So again, these kids are getting guns somehow or another. So That's where it's the community, it's the police department, it's everybody's responsibility to make sure these kids aren't engaged in this type of activity, as well as somehow getting armed with firearms. You know, obviously they're illegal if they're children with a firearm. So I hate to use the tacky, it takes a village, but I mean, it's going to take everybody to kind of stop this behavior. Good. Good. All right, thank you guys.